Before a tourist ever checks into a hotel or takes a picture on a beach, someone has already decided on that place, a decision that will shape its future for decades. And more often than not, that decision wasn't made by a scientist or the local community. It was made by a politician who saw tourism not as a long-term responsibility, but as a fast and easy way to boost their image. Sustainable tourism should be simple. Protect the environment, respect the people, and grow the economy in a way that doesn't destroy everything in the process. It sounds like common sense, but for many politicians, it's a nightmare. Something that slows them down and threatens the powerful interests that keep them in office. That's why, in politics, sustainability is often treated like the enemy. Politicians operate on short timelines. Elections come fast, and every election demands something shiny. A bigger airport and a flashy tourism development that can be turned into campaign posters. Sustainable tourism doesn't give them that. It requires patience, strict rules, and transparency. It asks them to say no to irresponsible developments and yes to protecting communities, even when those communities can pay for political ads. That alone creates a silent war between what is good for the destination and what is good for the politician. Take Dubrovnik, Croatia, a stunning old city on the Adriatic coast. A place built for centuries before giant cruise ships existed. Waves of these massive ships unload thousands of visitors into its narrow streets. Dubrovnik had days when there were more tourists in the old town than actual residents. Locals started calling the crowds sickness because it made the city feel unlivable. Rents are high, families move out, and traditional neighborhoods turn into short-term rentals. Dubrovnik's history core even came close to losing its UNESCO World Heritage status, not because of age or neglect, but because the city's leaders refused to limit daily visitor numbers. Because the cruise industry brings money. A fast money, loud money. And politicians know exactly what kind of money can do during election season. Only when international pressure grew too strong did the local government start enforcing limits. Not because they wanted to, but because doing nothing threatened the city's global reputation. Now look at Cambodia's Gokong province. On paper, it was promised a new era of luxury tourism. Investors swooped in with promises of jobs, hotels, and economic growth. But underneath those promises was a brutal reality. Families forced off their ancestral lands, forests cleared, and entire communities displaced so a massive coastal resort could rise in their place. Many residents never got a proper compensation. Some were given small plots of land far from where they lived. Others received nothing but eviction notices. And local politicians, they allowed it. They helped it. Because the deals behind those resorts were worth too much, and the people losing their homes didn't have enough power to stop it. This is the political equation. One giant project creates one giant headline. And for some leaders, that matters more than the hundreds of families they uproot. One of the biggest myths politicians tell is that tourism will make everyone rich. The majority of the money made from tourism leaves almost as soon as it arrives. Foreign hotels, foreign tour companies, foreign investors, they take the largest share of the profit back home. Economists call this leakage. In some developing nations, up to 70 or even 80% of tourism revenue leaks out of the country. Locals are left with the scraps, low-wage jobs, rising living costs, and the environmental damage left behind. For the politician, none of this matters. As long as the GDP numbers look good and the ribbon-cutting ceremonies keep coming, they can point to the tourism boom as a success. But it's a success built on sand. In big tourist cities, residents are being pushed out of their own neighborhoods. Homes are converted into short-term rentals. Landlords realize they can make more money from tourists than from its own citizens. Cities like Barcelona, Lisbon, and the Canary Islands have seen protests where locals beg for the right to stay in their own homes. Politicians could stop this with strict limits, but many don't. Short-term rentals bring easy tax money and make the economy look strong. That is more appealing than solving a housing crisis that might take decades to repair. Mass tourism doesn't change landscapes, it changes identities. Once sacred traditions are turned into scheduled performance, local culture becomes a product packaged and sold like a souvenir, and politicians often encourage it because a more marketable version of culture attracts bigger crowds. The authenticity of place becomes an afterthought compared to the revenue those crowds can generate. Bhutan is one of the rare places that choose long-term preservation over fast profit. The country imposes a daily fee on tourists, ensuring only a manageable number of visitors enter each year. They made a choice: quality over quantity. But what Bhutan did takes political courage, something many leaders don't have, especially when powerful developers and lobbyists are watching. Sustainable tourism demands leaders who think beyond their own careers. Leaders who see a destination as a living community, not a business opportunity. Leaders who understand that every beach, every forest, every ancient street is more than a tourist attraction, it's a home. The fight for sustainable tourism is not a fight against tourism. It's a fight against greed, short-term thinking, and powerful cowardice. And the real question isn't, can we make tourism sustainable? It is, do we have leaders brave enough to choose sustainability over convenience? Because if you don't, the places we love today may not survive long enough to love tomorrow.